Oh, nice to meet you. I'm Jackson.
Hi, I'm Leanne.
Nice
I'm the Offshore Installation Manager on Clear.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a very fancy title.
Isn't it?
That is cool. Wait, could you say that again, please? I didn't really pick it all up.
So I'm the Offshore Installation Manager on the Clear platform in the North Sea for BP.
Ooh, that's very big title. So you're like the big boss then, offshore.
Yeah, so the Offshore Installation Manager, or the OIM as it's kind of referred to, is the kind of senior, well, it is the most senior position offshore. So my accountability is for the safety and well-being for everyone on board. So it's kind of like being a captain of a ship. It's very similar to that kind of level of responsibility. So my platform has 154 people. So in the event of any emergency, I'm responsible for, executing the emergency response procedures. So evacuating them if need be via lifeboats, etc. So as I said, very similar to being like a captain on a ship.
All right, okay.
And also to that, I'm also responsible for all the work that goes on there. So the prioritisation and making sure all the work from, drilling a well, oil and gas well, to producing it, to exporting it, all the work offshore, I'm responsible for making sure that's executed efficiently and safely. That's my kind of key role offshore.
Do you have to do quite a lot of monthly training up to keeps and stuff like health and safety?
Oh yeah, a lot. I need them a lot, yeah. So any kind of oil and gas professional, obviously we need to be able to be trained to go offshore. So you both see it, so obviously your offshore survival piece, but then to that as well. So I have a safety critical role because, as I said, I'm responsible for the safety of everyone offshore. So I have to demonstrate that I know what I'm doing with regards. I understand oil and gas processing, I understand people management, I understand contract management, I understand the regulations in the UK, that kind of stuff. So yeah.
That is a lot of information. You're doing a really good job.
So. I don't know all. I just know where to go and look for it in the books. But
listen, that's all that matters. As long
exactly. But the key thing is about the people management offshore. Yeah.
Well, you've told me what an OIM does, so we'll go to the next one. Can you talk me through some of the key highlights of your career? What have you been the most excited about in your opportunities you've been given? Yeah,
so I've worked in oil and gas now for 20 years. So I'll be honest, bar none, one of the things that I love about oil and gas and the energy industry is the places I've travelled. Now, I'm a girl from Glasgow. I've worked in places like Azerbaijan, Angola, Oman, Singapore, South Korea, and I've visited many other places as well as part of that. So I'll be honest, it's and even when I've worked in all these places, I've done something a little bit different. So what I would say is oil and gas has been very, very good to me, and I do look at it like that, and that it's given me an opportunity to work in all these fabulous places and meet all these work with different cultures and really get immersed in that. So that's probably the kind of key highlight overall. One of the kind of my favourite job was I worked for the Clear Bridge platform out offshore in the North Sea. So I was there from when it was on a bit of paper. So from the detailed design stage, we were in London. Went from the detailed design stage in London. We then I went to various different places as they were building it, and then went out to South Korea. We put it all together, we tested it, and then we took it off to West of Shetland out here, and then we started it up, and then I operated. So we took it from a bit of paper to something that then produces oil and gas that then, obviously supplies energy to the UK. So that was brilliant. I mean, that was end to end 10 years. It was great. And as I said, I worked with people from all over. It was brilliant.
That's really impressive.
It was really good. It was really good. I'm not going to lie.
You must have learned a bunch of different things throughout that process from finding out from the beginning to when it was finalised as the whole project.
Yeah, and obviously my career has kind of evolved as part of that as well. I was very much, kind of managing technicians or out doing quite a lot of the commissioning work myself, and then to actually leading the startup. It was brilliant. It was brilliant. I'm not going to lie. And then, as I said, it was such a big project that then. It's such a big impact in the UK economy. So it's good. It was brilliant. It was brilliant.
What first inspired you to pursue a career in the energy industry, and why do you think the field is an exciting opportunity for women today? Okay.
What attracted me? That's a good question, actually, because I'll be honest, I never grew up actually knowing anyone that worked offshore oil and gas, believe it or not. I knew of people, but I didn't actually know anyone. What attracted me? It's a little bit more
common now, isn't it?
It is, it was. Do you know what, if I was really honest, I went and did an engineering degree because my mum had said, watch what I'm saying now, she had said that I could go and be a dentist or whatever that was, and I would live down the road and then she would look after my kids. And at 17 I thought, no, I'm not doing that. I want to go and do something completely different. And oil and gas in particular, again, it was something a bit new and exciting, and I knew. So when I applied for the job and I did an internship out with, very similar to an apprenticeship, I got a taste for it, and it was just very exciting. As I said, that whole, it's oil and gas, it brings the practicalities. I liked maths and chemistry and that kind of work, and I like working outdoors, and I like travelling, and it brought all that together.
Why do you think this field is an exciting opportunity for women today? So
why do I think it's exciting for women today? I think more so than ever, I'll be quite frank, because I keep, as I said, I keep referring it to oil and gas, but I think it's an energy industry now, and that's where we are, right? And we're evolving, and what we've always done has to change, right? And if I look at some of our oil and gas facilities, it's predominantly not just been male orientated, it's been predominantly the same types of people in them, right? And we will never move forward in that. Most successful teams have a mix of people, right? And they have diversity of thought, and that's how you get a high performing team. So for me, I think it's very exciting for women, because I said the energy industry is evolving, it needs to change, and I think we're a key role in that, and I think we bring a little bit different thought to it, a diversity of thought to it, and I think we will form teams and lead teams who are more effective in the future, which is what is needed as we go through this energy transition more than ever. So I think we play a critical role in that, I'll be honest.
So do you feel that women now, do you feel like the energy industry is moving in the right direction for more diverse parties to come into,
100%.
like women?
100%. I'll be honest, when I first started, it was good in certain areas, right? So what I would say, it was good in certain areas. I would have said certain other areas, more site-based, probably less welcoming, to be quite frank. I probably reflect upon, I wouldn't have let my daughter experience some of my early stuff, but now it's brilliant, I'll be honest. It's night and day. It's night and day. The culture offshore is a lot more welcoming. We recognise the importance of everyone. There's a lot more respect, I think, now. And again, that kind of recognising that high performing teams are a mix of people, and we thinking we all don't just are overly aggressive and run in the one direction. I think that's probably in the past.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
It is good, exactly. And like I said, it's a far nicer and more energetic environment than ever.
What unique skills or perspective do you believe women bring to the energy roles, and how can these qualities make a positive impact within the industry?
Whew. What do they bring? I'm trying not to be sexist here, so let me think. That initial one is that diversity of thought, as I said, because it's not just necessarily about being female. Again, I think it's the same types of people that have always went offshore, to be frank, and or worked in energy. I think they come in with a different perspective and a bit more calmness, actually. I've been in meetings where I think having a female presence actually brings a bit more calmness in the room when it's less. And I think that's very important. I think we bring a lot of empathy as well, is what I've seen. I have seen, especially I reflect on myself when I'm offshore. I do have a lot of, people come into me and actually explain what's going on in their lives and issues they're having at home, because obviously to get the best out of the oil and gas facility, the best out of people, you need to understand what's going on with them, and you need to help them. And I think, like I said, when you bring a female perspective, we think a little bit different, we act a little bit different, we can bring a little bit more calmness to certain situations. We are quite logical, and I would say, again, we can bring out the best in other people as well, because again, I don't think other people, I don't think you feel you need to be as alpha. It's probably what it is. So I do think, I think it brings out different things in different people.
Yeah.
And a different thought process as well.
I would agree. I think if I were to have a work environment, I would like a calm individual to be able to communicate with. And as fun as jokes and little bits of laugh here or there, I also do want there to be a certain seriousness about it, because yes, you're on an oil platform, and it's about people's safety. Like you said, you're in charge of people's safety.
We live there. People got to remember, we lived there for 3 weeks, right? So we lived there for maybe a third of our lives. Yeah. So we're kind of, and that you need to bring your whole self to work. Yeah. To that degree, and I think, like I said, when you have more females. I think people are a little bit more considered and a little bit more
It feels a bit
vulnerable,
more,
actually, and I think you need that.
it almost feels a bit more normal. Like
Yeah.
you're back, you're back on shore. Like you're, like it's not like you feel like you're in a different place. You all of a sudden you feel like you're back on shore, and it's normal.
It's a
like,
bit more normal, yeah. As opposed to you have to. I always say that actually when people come off. I think some people, especially when you get such a male environment, people come off when they have a bit of a character, you know, a kind of pretense, and I'm going to be that. And I think when you kind of change that dynamic, people kind of relax a little bit more.
Mellow out of it.
Yeah, and that's it, you know. And then, like I said, and some of the best work you'll get from people is when they're not trying to put on a face.
Yeah, I mean, I would completely agree with that. In your view, how do programs like APTUS support and empower young women to excel in the energy sector? And what would you say to someone hesitating about joining?
I would say, I mean, predominantly the main thing that APTUS gives you is an opportunity, a very rare opportunity to get into a very exciting industry, which there isn't. I mean, if you look at before to now, you know, it's a kind of smaller industry than what it was in the UK. Not worldwide, still worldwide, it's still quite big. But APTUS gives you the opportunity to go offshore on a rotation and be mentored by a highly skilled individual and then an offshore environment and get really good skills. Now, I don't know many kind of programs or the likes that can do that, right? I'll be quite frank. So it is a wonderful opportunity. I mean, and I do speak to my apprentices very regularly, and again, so it's like you're not just getting mentored by as I said, a very skilled technician and bringing on your skills. You know, I speak to my apprentices about what they want to do and what career paths, and there's lots of different opportunities. We talk about the industry, etc. So I think it gives them, again, a different perspective of the world and and then you can decide where you want to be. So I think, in general, what does APTUS do? I think it gives you access to, you know, a wonderful opportunity. And again, I think I reflect on myself as being an internship. I never realised that this world existed. I seen it for 5 minutes and I grabbed it. Right, and it is about those small moments in time. And I think that that is the importance of what APTUS does for the individuals. For women, again, it's creating that door, right? And again, the more women we get offshore, the better it is. And I completely agree to that, because then it makes it more of a normal work environment. That's how I look at it, yeah. Like, and it normalises it. And actually, we all just work together and we don't see each other as being different people anymore. And that's the great thing. And I I currently now have one apprentice who is a female, and I've got one who's just coming out of traineeship. She's just going to be a fully fledged technician, and she is brilliant. You know, she's very highly thought of. So I think it gives them the opportunity to come in, it gives them support, gives them mentorship, and then again, similarly, I reflect that, you know, it's our responsibility as the Offshore Installation Manager and my team to then bring that person through, you know, and give them the skills, but also give them the understanding of how big the energy industry is, what you can do, what your career path could go with, etc. So I think, as I said, it's opening that door to a vast world. That's what I would say. I
completely agree with that. Also, as you said before, this is an amazing opportunity. I'm very excited about taking it. I feel quite lucky to have found myself in a position where I am now in the programme, and I'm looking forward to starting it. So I would also say, like, if there is anybody that wanted to join, go for it. Try and get it. I was going to ask, you said earlier about you communicating with your apprentices and talking about ideas. Do you ever, because obviously they might not be aware to some of the opportunities that are there, do you ever find yourself throwing opportunities their way and throwing the ideas out there to them so they're aware of it?
Yeah, and again, also as well, I find sometimes when you speak to apprentices, they feel they're just here to learn X, Y, Z, and I'm like, well, no, you can go in this and you can do that, and I think that's important again, because it's, you know, being offshore, there's not endless amounts of beds. You know, you're effectively on a kind of steel structure in the middle of the sea. There's only so many beds, right? So every bed I see for me is a prisoner, right? So if you're there, you're important to my facility, either today or tomorrow, or for my company, and that's why you're there. So that's what the apprentices are, and that's how I see it. We're we're developing you, but we're also developing you to be better for the industry. And I think that's an important message to say to the apprentices. And I think to your point there is explain to them that, you can do this, you can go and see this, you know, have you considered that? What kind of role would you want to do post this, right? Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? Because the weird thing about being young is you think 5 years' time is miles away, and it's not. It's really not. No, and it's fine, you can go directionless, but if you've got an idea of I would want to be that, then I can kind of understand and then have that conversation with your line managers of like give them some exposure to that to make sure you understand that.
No, that's good to hear. I'm kind of I was just a little bit curious about that, just to see kind of what.
So many different roles offshore. So many do roles, so many supervisory roles, so many leadership roles, and then there's obviously whole pieces of, again, in the supporting office of how, you know, a lot of apprentices have went offshore and they decided they wanted to work onshore because their life's changed, and then they come and do something completely different. So it's good to know that that's not just your only role. Yeah,
I feel like as an apprentice, you're almost like you might just be a wee bit blissfully unaware of some of the opportunities that are there, and it's quite nice to hear that you as an OIM are vocalizing these opportunities out there to some of the apprentices.
Because you need to plan to how to get there. That's that. If you want to get to X, you need to kind of do, you know, ABC to get there, and I think that's the importance. But again, until you're in the industry, you don't really know that, and that's why it's important we have those conversations. And that's why it's important that you have not just a technician who gives you technical skills, but also is developing you, or you know, wider than that, you know, behavioural skills, your communication skills, and you know, understanding what career choices you want to do. Yeah. That's the intent of it.
That's brilliant. Honestly, I'd love that. I love that type of advice. I am obviously just starting out fresh, so I've never experienced what life is like offshore. So could you maybe give me a general idea of maybe what I'm getting myself into if I end up offshore?
Yeah, so I can. It's offshore. It's unique, right? But what I would say about offshore is I laugh more in those 3 weeks than I do when I'm home, and I do. So you know, it starts with you know, you go to the heliport, you get in the we actually fly to Shetland, and then we get a helicopter offshore. And then you're with those people for 3 weeks, right? And so they're your kind of family, and you do laugh a lot because there's a lot of camaraderie because you're in it together. I would say that. So there's a lot of jokes, there's a lot of laughing. Some of it's witty, some of it's not, but you know, that's how you get through it. There's a lot of support actually. I'll be honest, there's a lot of support actually when I reflect on it. You know, I've got some really strong relationships with people offshore who, if I actually sit and think now and go, well, I'm probably closer to them than I am some of my own friends, you know, and I've told these people more stuff because, again, you're offshore for, as I said, 3 weeks at a time. It's weird, you can have chocolate at 6 a.m, you know, that's all right. It's kind of like the airport, you know, a beer. It's the same principle. If you wake up in the morning, you have a coffee, you need a chocolate.
3 a.m. is not too early.
There is no judgment. There is no judgment of when you eat chocolate, is what I would say to that, or when you drink coffee. There is no judgment to that either. And it's strange because you can plan out your day, and then all of a sudden something happens in the plant, and then every day comes together and resolves it, and then you get high from it, and it's you kind of went into that problem together. You just come out as a team, and it feels great. Actually, you get that kind of. I always say to the guys, it's like doing HIIT training at the gym or something like that. It's like that. But then sometimes I say to them, you need to work on your legs. So that's why we have to do our maintenance, etc. We need to do something. The boring stuff too, boys. So and girls. So But I know I would say. It's funny because I'm going back next week, and then you go, I'm going back after 4 weeks off. I'm like, so it's like every Monday, it's like every Sunday night. Like,
it's like Monday morning.
But then it's weird though, because what's quite funny is by the end of that day when I'm offshore and I'm working around the site, I'm like, I'm quite glad I'm back. No, I know I don't say that to my family, but it's a little bit like, it's kind of like you're taking home a little bit, and you're like, this is quite nice actually again, and I've got this to do, and we'll need to sort that out. And such is coming back, and we need to think about what his next job move is, and we need to, execute this job. And you go out there, you fix stuff, you bring the platform forward, you produce a certain amount of oil and gas, and like I said, you see people develop. I've seen people being promoted and move jobs, and these are the people you speak at, like, especially if you're on night shift, you'll be sitting talking nonsense at 2 a.m. a little bit. It's bizarre, like on a Saturday night when everybody else is out and you're working on the plant, and you end up sharing lots of stuff and laughing a lot. You do laugh a lot.
So I take it then you probably feel like from the beginning of your shift to maybe the end of your shift, it just flies by.
It does. It does, actually.
Like, that's what you want.
I don't tell my family that, right? I tell them how hard it is. And I tell everybody else how hard it is.
That's fair enough.
But,
You're supposed to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So I need them to feel sorry for me that I'm missing such and such. But,
I had to do such a hard day.
Exactly.
Whereas you're just laughing away.
I know. Especially when you take my husband's to take the kids to like the football practice on Saturday morning. I'm eating chocolate and talking about, you know, what's happening in the football and stuff like that. You know, and I did a football coupon, and that's the kind of thing as well. So like in the weekend, you know you're offshore at the weekend. You know you're missing stuff, but actually we do like things to kind of boost morale. I go to bingo on a Saturday night. You know, it's not something I would do if I was home, but actually, you know, offshore it's really fun. It's really fun.
You have bingo?
I have bingo.
Can I ask, did you always see yourself as becoming an OIM?
Honestly, no, because I didn't even know what an OIM did. Okay. I'll be quite frank with that. As I said, I liked sciences at school. I applied for internships, which were, you know, vast. I actually applied for various different internships. I got one in BP, and then I got into energy, and then I went offshore, and I was like, oh, this is good. And then did various different things. But I always loved offshore, I'm not going to lie. Even whatever I did, and I've done lots of different jobs in the office as well, and as I said, I've travelled to different sites and stuff, but I've always loved offshore for, I think, the reasons why we said before, the camaraderie, the fact that you do work, you execute it, you know, you see a difference, you feel part of something. So that kind of drove me to offshore, and then the desire and probably the want to take on more responsibility and actually improve the facility and, you know, make us bit more of an impact on not just the facility itself and the company, but actually on people, because you have such a big impact as an OIM on your leadership and everyone, you know, below that effectively on people's different careers, and that kind of attracted me, and then that was it. So it just evolved. So as much as I was saying you need to have a plan of where you want to be in 5 years, I'll be honest, that will change as you come through your career. Yeah. And that's a good thing about oil and gas and energy. Do
you feel like
the opportunity's there? You're not going to be in one place. You know, if you want to be, you can be, or you can see what else there is.
So what 3 things should you bring offshore with you? What's your top 3 things that you should bring?
So we'll probably do this 2 ways. So what top 3 things I will bring as an OIM who lives there, you know, for a third of my time. I've got all my clothes and all that are there already. All my gym gear's there. I've got my, you know, my belt, my straps and all the stuff for doing gym workouts. But what I bring is good coffee, because I'm a coffee snob, you know, and I do longer hours. So, you know, good coffee, high quality chocolate, again, so I'll bring Lindt and stuff like that stuff out. So again, you'll be saying it now, but as you grow in the energy industry and you earn more money, you'll like the finer things in life. I'm not going to lie. Okay. There is good chocolate offshore, but I like you know, the good stuff. So coffee, chocolate, and then what's the kind of third one I do bring? Oh, I bring loads of supplements, but that's because I'm in my 40s. So that's a different one. So I'm like not protein powder, I'm vitamins. So
not protein powder, but
I'm vitamins.
Get your vitamins.
I'm a daily greens, vitamins kind of girl. That's the 3 things I bring offshore.
Okay, so I'm finding out that I need some form of different things.
You need a vice. Everybody needs a vice, so mine does good coffee and good chocolate.
Right, okay.
You know, so at 12:30.
Mine's gluten-free cereal, I think.
There you go, that's what you need to bring then.
Perfect. This was something I was going to ask, because I think my friend told me about this, but there's some sort of wee offshore shop.
Aye, a Bond, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can get most things there, so I'd have a Bounty or Snickers and stuff, but I feel like, you know, I've had a hardship, I have to go offshore. I have to get my bed made for me and my room cleaned and food made for me, so I need to treat myself with a nice coffee and chocolate.
Okay.
I know, as mad as that sounds, I know.
That's fair enough. You're doing a hard job, so you know you need that.
But as I said,
you're running the platform, so you need your finer things like your chocolates.
I know, but when I do think about reflecting it now, where I actually have to clean my own house and cook my own dinners, I'm thinking, you know, the reality being it's probably not that much of a hardship. But,
this has been a lot of fun, actually. So thank you very much.
No problem.